Here we go. It's episode 36 of Beers in the Lot. This episode, we talked about how we're kind of experiencing some season fatigue. We talked about how everybody ends up in Beer League. And we touched on the PGA's social media incentive that they've unveiled. And would it work for the NHL? Let's get to it. Oh, that's way too much better. Until I'm on Team Can. I never pour into glasses.
It's like half a glass of
I
head.
know. Man, these glasses are great for holding half a beer ahead. It's spectacular. So, Aaron, besides the heady beer there, what are you actually drinking once you finish that?
Well, I've got my Moosehead Radler because it's a beautiful day outside today. Or it was a beautiful day today. And I'm just in the mood for Radlers. So normally on Team Can, but tonight pouring it from the can in the koozie into the pint glass because we got our Beers in the Lot pint glasses. So got to be on Team Glass tonight. What you got, John?
I'm also making it a brief, like we can call it a taxi squad call up to Team Glass this evening. I'm having a Snake Dog IPA from our buddies at Flying Dog. Danny, what about you?
I am having a Scutcheon Brewing Company Growler Kolsch. Very tasty.
Nice.
Yes. What do you have, Rigo?
I have Chef's Kiss the Fingers from Mwah.
Yeah.
from Dewey Beer Company in Delaware.
That has to be can art of
Is
the
it
night.
in
Like,
Dewey?
we don't- Yeah, we don't.
Hey, we're in Delaware.
that's what I was
Wait.
thinking.
Wayne's
Hey.
World. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in Delaware.
Like, come on, guys.
No, you're right though, John. That's some sick can art.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
we don't do
Looks like a
awards.
pizza box or the
It's the old school
tablecloth.
pizza box.
Yeah, old school
That's awesome.
pizza box.
Chef's
Like-
Kiss.
Yeah, that's actually low key one of my favorite things to say. Like, there's something funny about that every time. Ugh. I was chuckling about it before to myself when Eric told me what he had, just to make sure we didn't have the exact same beer this evening.
Yeah, that's the new rule for the podcast. Has to be you could bring a beer back, right? But we all have to have different ones.
Yep.
You can bring it back as long as it's not a back to back. Also,
Yeah,
other
it has to
rule.
Yeah.
be
Go
right.
back to back.
Right.
yeah, no back to back starts. You're allowed to make, numerous call ups, if you will.
I think that was the first time that happened.
Yeah,
I think it was.
so.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever had a dupe. Oh, by the way, the Pens lost. Or the Pens won 7-6. So they scored another goal.
That's
Wow.
that's bad. That team. Who called it? Somebody called it that they're going to split the last 12 games of the season or whatever to all bad teams to the basement. They're going to split the basement.
They'll win the front end and lose the back end somehow, some way. They'll find a way. So
Oh well.
yeah, NHL's been kind of lame lately. I know we've been talking about it. Just I don't.
Been kind of a slow news week. That's for sure. Johnny, we were actually talking earlier, talking about how maybe we should talk about the West a little bit because we don't ever talk about them. And
Well, there's only two teams that two people on the pod care about really.
right.
It's
Colorado.
Colorado and Vegas.
Yeah.
And outside of that, every team just doesn't. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on it? It just doesn't do it for me. Like, I'll watch Vegas, I'll watch Colorado, but outside of that, if I see a Western game on, I don't go, oh, I'll stay up and watch it like normal years. I don't know if it's just a season fatigue or something, but just ain't doing it for me.
Yeah, we were talking about Minnesota a bit ago with Kirill. He's fun to watch, but I mean, when he's not on the ice, then what? It's just Minnesota.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny and I have been kind of complaining offline about this a lot, that the games are getting I don't know if they're boring. I think like the matchups are stale now. Like the intra division, is that what we call it? Right?
Yeah.
Because they're all inside. Intra division.
Yeah, intro.
So the intra division matchups, like maybe 7-game series, but beyond those thresholds, and we're into like the 8 games and 9 games in some series in these divisional matchups. Maybe it's, I don't know, like the energy's not there. I don't feel it like when I'm watching the games. I don't know about you guys, but I'll watch Washington play if I'm sitting in front of the TV, but if I'm doing other stuff, like on Saturday and Sunday, I was working outside and doing yard work and all kinds of crap around the house. I didn't care about any of their games the last couple days. So
Yeah, it's pretty bad when you're happy about yard work over hockey.
and they're well, I wouldn't say I was happy about it, but
yeah.
I just
He's a dad. I mean, he gets
just,
just
like-
up for that stuff.
I just
We're not like that one guy whose video we saw where he was getting all geared up to go mow for 8 hours.
yeah, like not like that.
We'll have
but
to
it
give
was-
him, dude. We got to give him a shout out. He's a Minnesota fan, actually.
Oh, the grass guy,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
grass guy.
YouTube grass guy or whatever.
Yeah, we definitely got to give him a shout out.
but I don't know. I was just doing that stuff, and then their game came on Saturday at like 12:30 or some bullshit like that. Which I'll get on that topic in a second. And then the Sunday game was at like 3, I guess, or whatever. And it's like, or I don't know what time it was because I didn't care. I didn't watch it because I had other stuff going on, and I wasn't gonna like rush myself getting that stuff done to go sit down and watch the game like I would normally.
Right.
And I think it's because like the games are just boring, and that's a team, like, not to pump their tires, but like they're
fun to
at the
watch.
top-
Typically,
they're at the top of a division. Like they're playing decent. They have some issues, but you'd think that a fan would want to watch them. But I really don't care right now.
Who are they playing?
Insert team name.
They played, I think Philly and I know they played Boston on Sunday,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Yeah, I know the Penguins have games against the Devils and Buffalo to like finish out the season. It's like watching these games. I mean, I just looking at Pittsburgh tonight, it kind of looked like they got bored beating them. Like they were up, I think it was like 6-0 going into the third, and they just stopped playing because they're like, this is fucking boring.
Yeah.
Well, I feel the energy level with the players just looks somewhat off. Like I think they're dialed in? Yes. Do I think that 100% commitment buy-ins in there? Yes, because they're physically there. But some of those like little extra, I'm gonna hit you plays, I'm gonna, dive for this puck, etc. I don't see it, and maybe that could be 2 reasons. Maybe 2, they're like, it's so close to the playoffs, we're literally gonna play these guys in 3 weeks. Why don't we just, I'll fold on this hand, come back later in the period, something like that. And then also, I do think early in the season, you saw a jump, and even last year in the bubble, you would see jump with players. I think a lot of them now, it's to the point they're like, I need fans to kind of indicate some energy. Like you
Yeah.
do see teams that feed off of that to some extent. And I'm not saying the fans 100% will them to goals, because usually the team builds up momentum. But when the fans are there, like, I'm sure I'm not a professional athlete. I'll never have stands or fans in the stands, thank God. But
Hey, no, we had fans in the stands in Johnstown.
oh yeah,
Come
yeah,
on
we're
now.
there
we're
were
on our-
people in the
Yeah,
in the
there were
stands. I don't know if
people.
they were fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That energy was electric.
Well, that's because that guy was mooning everybody. It's frightening, I'm sure. I don't think it had anything to do with the on ice product. But yeah, I don't see anyone getting jazzed up for. I mean, what's Pittsburgh now? 30% capacity, 20, 30, something like that. What's DC now, Riggs? Where are they at?
0.
0.
They're not gonna. They'll have fans next week.
next week.
Yeah,
And what is it? 10?
10%. It's like I think it's just over 2,000 people in the
Yeah.
building. Normally they would have, 18,000
Yeah.
because they sell out like every game. So yeah,
Yeah.
like I get that, but I also think there's something to like this just inside the division the whole time thing. It's just gotten stale, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem too. The same old people. There's nothing. There's no spice. I don't know. Everybody's too familiar.
Yeah.
Remember back in January, we were so excited for it. Oh, this is gonna be great. They're gonna play each other a bunch of times. Can you
Well, it
imagine
was
the
great.
hate?
It
And
was.
nothing. It
I-
was
I
great
think it
for the
was
first like
great.
3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
And then it
It-
just
The
kinda
first
lost.
30 games, it was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. And then
Yeah.
between 30 and 40, it's kind of just
Well, like
I don't know.
I go back to a 7-game series kind of thing, right? Like those are always exciting because it's playoffs or whatever. But if you think about how those series go, right? First game, there's like a little bit of a feel out. Second game, there's a little more energy. That third game, they've built up that animosity and that hate. And you saw that in these intra-divisional series between the teams. When they got to those third and fourth games, it had that sort of playoff hatred mentality, that war bit going on. And that kind of carried for a couple more games between the teams. But now it's kind of like the divisions are definitely like you could see it in the standings, especially in the goal differentials. There's definitely a top half and a bottom half
Unless you're the New
in the
York Rangers.
divisions. And well, yeah, because they're like one of these outliers that's up there, but
Well,
yeah,
because they smoked Philly like 4 games.
right. But
They
they're
put like
not
40 goals up
there.
against Philly in
But
4
like
games or something
there's
crazy.
definitely there's definitely upper halves and bottom halves in each division. And in
Mhm.
some cases, it's the top 2 teams and then everybody else, like the West, which is how we started this whole thing. Um, you know, the season, I guess, is done. Like some teams still have 12 games left, and the season's basically done. Like, let's start the playoffs now. So, and maybe that's
Yeah.
that's the way the players are. I don't know. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Just start it tomorrow. Just get right into it.
Hey, I want to go back to bullshit afternoon NHL game times because that really bothers me. No NHL game should ever start before 7 p.m. in the evening. I don't care what day it is. These 12 o'clock starts, 3 o'clock, whatever. Like,
That's a
come on.
baseball time.
Yeah.
That's a baseball
yeah,
first pitch
come
on
on.
Sunday. That's getaway day.
Yeah. Like, NHL is to be played at night, prime time.
I'll never forget this. When I went to San Francisco with my brother, I don't know, a few years back. I got off the plane at like 10 in the morning and there was an NHL game on. The Kings and it was somebody in the East. But it was like a matinee start in the East, but they were in like the second period at 10 in the morning. I was, this is bizarre. This is so weird.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, especially those like raging gambling people in California and stuff, or like alcoholics? You get up, go have your brunch at 9 a.m. with a Bloody Mary, and you can watch sports and drink all day because of where you live, the time zone. Maybe that's why San Francisco has so many problems.
Oh, John.
Something just made me think of this, and I don't know, but I haven't put any thought into this at all. What if there was a 7-game series in the middle of the season? Like in a regular season, they found some way to like make a 7-game series in the middle of the season important and exciting.
So
it's
you're
like
talking about
rivals.
like a Champions League? Like a
I don't
Champions
know.
League or a Super League for ice
No,
hockey?
no.
Damn it. Don't.
This isn't a soccer podcast. No.
No, it's not.
Football.
Football.
Football, yes. But
But
no, really, what if
What
there
you're
was something
proposing,
like, I don't know, January, February-ish, when it's the doldrums of the season, where it's like 2 teams that are really competing do a 7-game series or something like that. And what if every team had to do it? So it's like, this is 7-game series, week and a half or whatever.
Yeah, but
And then it made it somehow important.
how do you maintain the spirit of competition then? because you'll have like a disparate sort of number of games and situation in the middle of the season between two teams. How do you make
Yeah.
up for that uh in the division and then even in the conference? Because they're gonna go back to
Yeah, like I said, I put
conferences,
no
right?
thought in this at all.
Kind of what Aaron, kind of what you're saying. The NHL kind of already has that now that they're back into the Olympics. They kind of have a tournament, So.
Right. Yeah, every 4 years. But
So that's I was kind of thinking along those lines when Rigo was talking about the teams kind of getting used to each other and just it's not there for them. Like, what if you played a team just 7 times in a row, and then you go on to another team, and then you go on to another team? You think that would be more competition there?
I don't know. I feel like that would get stale too, though. Like maybe not a 7 game, maybe a 5 game series where it matters somehow. Like it, I don't
The-
know. I don't know how you'd make it matter, but
I think there's a
Free Timmys.
way.
free Timmys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Park the truck out front.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to relate it to beer leagues actually, where typically in your beer league you're playing with and against the same guys every week, right? Like
Yeah,
you're seeing
yeah.
the same guys every week, and you pretty much know what those guys are going to do. Like they have 1, 2, 3 moves when they have the puck, and that if they come down the left side, they're going to do one thing. If they come down the right side, they're going to do a different thing. All the tendencies and the habits, right? And so it becomes robotic almost,
Mhm.
right? Your reaction to those things and their reaction situations. I think
Right.
maybe that's what we're seeing. It's sort of like that. Hey, I've seen these same, uh, you know, 8 or 7 teams, 6 or 7 teams now for the last couple months. I know what each of these guys is going to do in each situation, and you just kind of react to it automatically. And maybe that's why it's boring. It's
Yeah.
as boring as beer league.
I don't know if
you
I'd
were
go that far.
if you were watching it, like when you're playing it, yeah, it's exciting. But like
Oh yeah,
if you're watching it, it's boring.
it's the
right?
live barn postulate.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like you feel like you're going a million miles an hour, and then you
Right.
watch
Man,
it,
that
and you're
play
like,
was
"Oh, man, that
awesome."
was so slow.
Yeah.
I was half tempted to bring up Live Barn just to kind of like watch my game from like Sunday night, and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
No, man.
I'll just be depressed.
No. And since we first talked about this a couple episodes ago, I don't remember when, but I've seen more and more people like on Instagram start posting their adult league and beer league clips on Instagram.
Oof.
And Aaron, like, we don't have video right now, but Aaron's cringing, and that is the exact reaction that you should have to those clips. Do not post yourself
unless you're a legit player. Like,
right. Yeah.
if you're good, then it's different. But if you're not good and you're not good, then no, man. No.
If you're legit,
No,
if you're legit
No.
blocking people on Live Barn and you're above the age of 19, stop it. And if you're 18, hopefully you're playing somewhere high next, not just like some, rec league or youth hockey league, and then you're not
with
gonna.
us.
Yeah, with us. Well,
Well,
no, because we send kids to D1 programs, sir.
Oh,
So
that's true.
let's-
That's true.
yeah,
all right. There's 2 things there. There's one is
Yeah.
we've sent 2 kids to D1 from our beer league team.
sent.
Just
We
saying.
did it.
Sent,
Yeah.
yes.
And you still shouldn't.
It's still beer league. Like, even if you're
right.
great, if you're a really good player and you're just performing like mad in beer league, what are you actually showing?
Who cares? And
Nobody
oh, by the
cares.
way, if you're one of these kids that's kind of like the in between, right? Like you're about to age out of youth hockey and you're gonna go play college and junior or whatever after that, and you're playing in the beer leagues sort of on the side and in the summer, right?
Those clips aren't adding to your resume.
Get used to it, because you're going to come back full time when your college and junior and whatever career is done.
Yep.
So remember what you learn in those beer league times when you're younger, because you're going to have to use them later.
And
Everybody ends up in beer league.
And I would just like to tie it in. Hall of Famer, chairman of the Hockey Hall of Fame, Laney McDonald. He too plays in a weekday pickup where beers are involved after.
That's right.
So even Hall of Fame
Everyone-
Stanley Cup champions playing
Yep.
beer league after.
Everyone
Everyone
ends
comes
Everyone
back.
ends up in beer league. If you want to keep playing, you're eventually going to be in beer
right.
league.
But that's also the good part.
That's that
of-
goal too, though.
That's
Yeah,
the good
what-
part about hockey, right? Like
Yeah.
you can play until you stop playing. Like
Right.
you could play forever and ever. I mean, we know guys that are 60, 70 years old.
Mhm.
We know one of the guys that was on that Jerry Hatrick's team from the area that went down to the USA Nationals in the, I guess, 70 and over division or something, some old timers division, right? Like, as long as you keep playing, you can keep playing until
You
you
can't keep playing
anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Until you can't.
it's the, what is it? Objects in motion.
Yeah,
Is that that?
Yeah, that's
I don't
Newton.
remember.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Big
I don't
science
remember.
guys.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need to get Bill Nye on
Science
here.
guy.
Big science guys, big physics guys.
Yeah.
Oh no, you've said it before, Eric, about coaching youth hockey. Is that part of what you're doing is you're preparing the kids to eventually play in beer league, because
Right.
that's where everybody ends up. And if they aren't ending up in beer league, that means that they gave up on the sport at some point.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
we don't want that. That's absolutely what we don't want. We want
Uh,
everybody to play in beer league.
I know we've told we've probably told the story before, but when John and I first started going to the USA Hockey Coaching Clinics, we went to the first one, did level 1, and Ty Newberry, who is he's one of the instructors for USA Hockey. He does a lot of coaching stuff around the country. He's been running hockey programs down at Fort DuPont for years, and if anybody's familiar with Fort DuPont and what goes on down there, they'll understand what that means. And so he was teaching the clinic, and towards the end of it, he said, our goal as coaches, or my goal as a coach, is not to get kids to college or pros or Olympic teams or whatever it is. My job is to get them to the beer leagues, because it means I made a lifelong, hockey player, a lifelong lover of the sport of hockey. And I think that stuck with both of us. And that's what we always, when we were coaching together, that's what we always told our parents. Like, hey, your players are coming here. We're going to teach them how to play hockey. But at the same time, we're going to do it in a way that they're going to fall in love with the game. And they're going to keep coming back until they're coming back and we're playing against them in
adult
beer,
league. Yeah.
in the beer leagues. Like, that's what we want.
And how many parents got hooked in it because they saw how much fun their kid was having? And they even said, man, I really would just want to go to like a stick and shoot or go and hang out with them on the ice when we do parent kid games and stuff like that. And then they end up playing beer league themselves and have way more fun. And some of the parents that Eric and I have coached are like, we did football at a high level, baseball, lacrosse, yada, yada, you name it. And then there were a few parents, Eric and I were happy to have them on our coaching staff where they played growing up or played for a little bit and then, left due to whatever, and then got back into it because their kids ended up playing. It was awesome that we say it all the time and it's somewhat cliche, but it is a hockey community. It's one of the few sports we always hammer at home. You can play your entire life. There's always a level for you one way or another if you have a rink close by.
Yep. Hockey is hockey's special.
All right, clip it. Send that to the NHL. We're
Yep.
hired. Well, all right. Did you guys see that article from the PGA Tour or no? You guys see it? They sent it to you
What,
really quick.
the $40 million bonus
Yeah, the
pool?
bonus.
I
Do
think
you
it's
think
kind
that's?
of interesting.
I do. I think it's. I could tell you 10 players on the PGA Tour are gonna make a fuck ton of money because of it. So I know I follow the PGA Tour a little closer than the rest of my counterparts on the podcast, so I'll just wheel into this really quick. The PGA Tour, obviously, since Tiger Woods has joined, has monumental growth, just from the purses to the advertising to the companies that want to advertise the PGA Tour. It's great for the growth of the game and the sport. It makes it more exciting. Now they want to roll something out, essentially a bonus system, a program for all their players, roughly $40 million in bonuses paid out to the players. And it calculates a few things. Obviously, it's going to be the FedEx Cup year-end race, which the FedEx Cup, that's their standings throughout the year. Google search popularity, your overall performance, and then a few other metrics they're going to use in that.
You say
So-
Google
Wait,
search
Google
Google
popularity?
search, yeah, that's apparently how they use it. Google search popularity.
So if people search you more, you get money?
Correct. So I think we
Hmm.
either need to figure out how to get in on the PGA Tour to do this, or I
Well-
think, jokingly, of course, but do
No,
you
I'm
think
just
the NHL would ever apply something like that to the players?
hold on. Google search.
No.
So if you like do something and then people are searching for your name, you'll get a bonus from the PGA.
So I think it also that, and then also you could do something for the PGA Tour. Their leaderboard's pretty cool. You could actually type in PGA, insert player
Yeah,
name,
and it
and for
comes
that
up.
week it'll pop
Yeah,
up. So
yeah. Okay,
I've done
I
that
get
quite
it.
a few times, so that's part of it.
That's
Now,
why they're doing it. Okay. But what I was taking it
Yeah.
to a whole I was taking it to like who's the idiot that just did the boxing thing this last weekend?
Jake Paul or
Yeah,
one of the
whatever.
Paul
One
brothers
of
or
those
whatever. Yeah.
one of those guys. What if a golfer just did some stupid stunt like that and then people were searching his name
Well,
and
that's
then
only one of
and then he got a bonus? Like,
I think
you know,
that's only
like-
that's only part of the metrics, though. That's only part of it. It's
Okay,
not the complete.
Okay.
But I think it's kind of interesting. Well, actually, a few reasons. It's a cool way for players to get more involved. Like, hey guys, it is important to be active on social media. Not necessarily just doing all the advertising stuff, but we like NHL players and athletes for the most part that give us a little more access to what they're doing.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And I
yeah.
understand
Absolutely.
some players are more, Sidney Crosby, for example, he's more like closed curtain. He's like, no, you guys get my time when I'm at the rink, and then when I'm away, leave me the hell alone. But then there are other players who are more, welcoming in terms of, their lifestyle, what they, other stuff they do. I think that's cool. And then the other part of it, I do like it becomes a popularity contest, which we all do know golf is a popularity contest. You could see the cheers and the galleries who they follow on a Sunday or Friday afternoon when so and so is trying to make the cut or winning an event. No one's following Bryson DeChambeau. We don't care about him. Got my dig in. Had to do it.
Got him.
Got him. But kind of comparing it to the NHL, do you think the NHL could do something like that potentially with their advertisers?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. The NHL's different though, right? Because it's a team sport. So with golf, you're an individual and it's truly like a personal brand, right? Your name is your brand.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
how you play, that's part of your brand. And like you sign up with Adidas or Nike or whoever to wear their clothes and their shoes and all that stuff. Like it's all about you as the individual, right? With hockey though, it's such a team sport. Like they already have the money tied to team advancement in the playoffs, right? So if you get to second round, everybody on the team, you know,
Yeah, you get a
gets
playoff bonus
gets
and
a
whatnot.
check or whatever, and then if you get to third round, if you get to conference final, if you get to Stanley Cup final, if you win, there's like set amounts tied to that for each, player on the team, right? So there's already sort of that structure and the team sense there. I don't know how it would play on a team if individuals were getting bonuses based on some of those other factors. right? Like think about the players that are already active, like the social media thing. They're already
The
active
younger
on the
guys for the
social
most part.
media.
Like Austin Matthews comes to mind for
Like
me.
they're gonna have an advantage there, right? But then Patty Marlowe, who just, had his thing last night for the all-time games and all that stuff. Like he's not gonna be one that goes out onto Instagram and TikTok and like all these other things and tries to promote his personal brand, right? Like
Tell you
he's
who's
gonna
getting a
do
lot of
his
views on Instagram right now is Jumbo Joe.
Well.
Yeah.
We can go into that after you finish your thought.
Yeah, we can.
Well, no, but that's actually a good point, Daniel. Like that was Marlowe's moment,
Mhm.
right? But Jumbo Joe making a cameo appearance in Austin Matthews and Mitchell Marner's little tribute video, walking behind them, conceivably naked.
In his birthday suit. Yeah.
They had it blurred out. It kind of looked like he had his unders on, but like whatever. Everybody thinks like, oh yeah, he walked behind naked and he was working on his stick.
His hockey stick. His hockey stick.
And so now he does that, and like everybody's like, "Oh, Joe Thornton," right? And
Right.
so now in that structure of like the bonus thing, his name would probably is probably like trending more than Marlowe, who actually
Did a thing.
accomplished the
Did
all-time
the
game
thing,
played
yeah.
record. He like did the thing, but Joe Thornton just did another thing, and
with his thing.
he would get the notoriety
Yeah.
and potentially the bonus under what the PGA like thing might be.
Yeah, it's hard to quantify it. It's like, how do you quantify who is having the best impact or the most impact on social media? And that's like, I don't know how you'd actually do it. Like the Google search thing, like you said, what if somebody did something terrible? What if somebody kills a guy on the ice and then that trends in national news or something?
Right, and then
like,
he gets
that's
$1
not
million
good.
bonus.
Yeah,
because his name-
that's
'cause
terrible.
he's, like, but that's what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah,
it's
how do
just-
you? You can't.
I'm sure there's
I
a way they can kind of filter that out to some extent.
I think there are other, like, there are already mechanisms for those guys as individuals, and I'm talking about the hockey players now. There are already mechanisms in place as individuals for them to go out and make that money.
Seriously, like if Austin Matthews is active on social media, then any company with a
Dude.
social media account is going to see
He
that.
has-
It's like,
Austin-
we need to
Austin
get our
NFTs,
equipment
dog.
on him.
Austin Matthews just
Yeah.
did an NFT drop.
Yeah,
dog.
exactly.
4
Like,
of them.
and companies are seeing this obviously,
Yeah.
and they're going to be like, "Hey, Austin, we'll give you money to wear our stuff on your social media."
absolutely.
Like he's going to make
Absolutely.
money off of being on social media without a bonus from the NHL. Like,
that's
I don't think that's what you were getting at. Yeah,
that's what I'm
Like-
saying is they already, like, as individuals, they already have personal brands, and some of them are more valuable than others because they're they have different status as players. And Austin Matthews has a certain status as a player because he's good, he's American, he comes from an area of the country that not a lot of hockey players come out of, so he's a role model, right?
He plays in a very
it's-
big NHL market as well.
And then he plays in Toronto, right? And so you take all that together, his personal brand is huge. He could do very well for himself as an individual. Forget any contract that he would ever, or has signed or ever will sign in his NHL career. He's going to do very well for himself.
Well, and that's one reason when John Tavares went to Toronto, even though it was rumored that the New York Islanders matched that contract, they even said John Tavares will make triple or quadruple that
Oh yeah.
in advertising and sponsorship deals off the ice.
yeah.
Just
Whatever he
because
would have
he's-
made in New York, he would have quadrupled it in Toronto. Guaranteed.
just because he's a Toronto Maple Leaf. That's it.
Mhm.
And now he's the Capitan.
Yeah.
So
And that's the thing. Like those guys, I don't think, first of all, I don't think it works in a team sport. And second of all, I think those NHL players, they already have personal brands that are valuable enough that they can make that money on their own. And
Right.
and the NHL probably is not going to support it anyway, right?
Yeah.
The league,
I
like the
mean,
league,
for
you
all
know.
we know, though, there might be a secret award that they hand out even for the guy who props up the NHL the most or does the most to benefit the league as a whole or something. Like there's awards for all kinds of stuff. Why couldn't the NHL just give out a monetary award to the guy that does the most to promote the league every season? Like who's to say that they don't already do that? They might already. But I don't think you need to make it into a big thing like, oh, who gets the most Google searches or
So
what.
how would
Like,
you?
yeah,
But so
it doesn't
so
really
my
work.
question
It
is,
just
how would
doesn't work.
how would you gauge like impact on the league in terms of like
Well,
starting new fans, merchandise sales, whatever? Like,
Yeah,
if
but
you
how would
bet
you
something
measure
on,
that?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you measure that?
how do
You
you
don't.
measure the league MVP? Like
Well,
it's
that's
Oh my
well.
God. Here we go.
yeah, like how do you do that? It's a judgment.
Are they
Here
gonna?
we
So are they
go.
gonna set? So like, if every NHL player set up like a hockey program like the Lebowski Urban Achievers Award, essentially, like, is that what you're talking about? Like they do that? They set up a scholarship fund, or like,
Who
you know,
knows?
they do give an award every year for the humanitarian award, which
Right.
I
Yeah, they
agree. It's
give
like
out awards that are kind of in the same
that's
vein,
impactful.
honestly. I mean, they're just, more philanthropic than promoting the league. But they give out stuff like that already. And I bet you that a lot of teams already have stuff for the guys who are the most impactful on the team's overall uh, outward. I don't know, their PR. Like they probably do that already. It wouldn't surprise me if teams do that.
Well, yeah, there's tons of players that do their own philanthropy on the side to some extent. It either doesn't get as much promotion as you like to see because they're not either, I wouldn't necessarily say supported by the league because that's not the right
But it's not
verbiage,
like
but
the
it's
league
not.
is making them do it. Or
It's
the
not that.
team's
Yeah,
making them do it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like Jason Zucker does the Give
But
16
they're
thing.
also,
He did that in Minnesota. He does it in Pittsburgh.
they're not doing it. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
we're more talking about it
that's
to grow the game in terms of monetary for the NHL
that's
Grow
not.
advertising and
That's
whatnot.
still
Grow
not.
the
That's still not
organization
even.
or the league. Yeah.
That's still not even what we're talking about. What we're talking about is an analogy to what the PGA is going to do, which is basically guys
Social interaction.
No, it's guys promoting their personal brand.
Yeah.
And the more that they promote their personal brand, the more that the PGA is going to support them. That's really what's happening. And in the NHL and in a team sport like hockey, that doesn't work.
Team sports doesn't work.
It doesn't work, man. Like you can't have guys going off on their own and trying to be like, oh, I'm this and I'm that. And then they come in the room and it's like time to go play. Like, I don't know how that would go over,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Here's a guy. I'm a guy who doesn't really care that much about golf. All right. I'm going to say it. I'm not a golf guy. I live on a golf course. I'm not a golf guy. I've never played on the golf course that I live on.
Yeah, we know.
We've gripped your own clubs.
But
You're a
here's
golf
here's how it looks to be this thing with the PGA Tour. Tiger Woods just got in a car accident. It's not looking good for his return.
He's coming
Tiger
back.
Woods. All right,
Stop this.
whatever. I don't know.
He's gonna come back. Stop it.
This is what I know as an outsider to the golf world. So Tiger Woods made golf a huge thing, biggest thing since Phil Mickelson, or I don't even know the other big golfers.
Phil Mickelson,
much bigger than them. Arnold Palmer, whatever.
That's a good
Tiger
one.
Woods is
That's a good one.
huge.
Happy
He's
Gilmore,
been
yeah.
huge.
Happy Gilmore,
Happy
yeah.
Gilmore,
Yeah,
yeah.
Danny. Yeah.
Without Tiger Woods now, and without him doing as much to promote his brand, then PGA is not going to make as much money. They're not going to sell as much licensed products. They're not going to sell Tiger Woods PGA Tour on Xbox or whatever. Like they're not going to sell these things anymore because nobody has the same brand recognition, personal brand recognition as Tiger Woods does. So they're giving people money on the tour to say, hey, do what Tiger did and get popular so that we can piggyback and make money off of you.
And how
That's
much,
what it is.
How much money is the bonus pool?
It's 40 mil.
$40 million?
That's a spit in the ocean,
right,
compared to what they're going to make.
Nothing. That is nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. Tiger Woods on the PGA Tour is the only player in tour history to clear over $100 million in career earnings from golf tournaments. Okay.
Yeah, that's just from golf.
He's worth about almost $800 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phil Mickelson also, same thing, $92 million all time. Phil's worth probably about 300-ish, give or take. I don't have that number in front of me, but I know Tiger's off the top of my head. It's all off-brand. Jordan is the same way.
But again,
same way.
But again, tying this
individual
back to
sport.
Would it work in the NHL? These are individuals that already have a personal brand, right?
And the NHL probably doesn't care about it.
They
as
don't
much.
give a shit. No.
Even the guys like Sidney Crosby and Ovechkin, when their rivalry was at their height, they didn't make that much off of it. They drew viewers to the game to watch their product, but they didn't make money off of those two guys. Like
not directly,
specifically off of those two, directly off of them. Yeah, they made it indirectly.
But those two made money.
Oh yeah, they made lots of money.
It helped their personal brands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it'll work for golf, but it won't work. It won't work for hockey. It won't do anything for the NHL.
The league won't institute anything like that. There are already mechanisms for individuals to go out and make their money.
No. And they're
doing it. They're doing it already.
Yeah, the younger guys are already ahead of it due to social media, and they're already savvy. I mean, Eric touched on the fact that, Austin Matthews has the NFTs, and then there are other players that have, clothing lines or, investing in other stuff. They're making sure they're taking care of themselves off the ice.
Hey John, how much do TJ Oshie's War Road undershirts cost?
Oh my gosh, yeah, talk about a crime. Like, I like the guy and I really do want him to I signed up for the email cuz like I like supporting hockey brands and everything. We're big fans of a bunch of companies, and I kind of was just digging around on the site the one day looking at the hats, and then I saw the little pop-up for, hey, we developed new underperformance apparel, and I was like, oh cool, let me look. It was $100 for a shirt, like an undershirt. I remember back in high school my dad buying me an Under Armour one, complaining it was $35.
Yeah.
He's like, it's $35 for this. And of course I was like, yeah, give me two. Like, I was like,
Speaking of merchandise.
This is a good opportunity to explain our Patreon, because I've had a couple of guys tell me that it doesn't make a lot of sense to them, or that they're not even sure really what you're getting out of it.
One of those people was John, so this will help.
This will help, yes.
A lot of it's still over my head.
So Patreon is basically the way that you can support this podcast. We've got some plans and things we want to do to better the show, but they require some gear. So the money that comes in through Patreon is going to help us buy the gear we need to make a better show, to provide more content, and to have more fun with it. Honestly, the things that we want to do, like go to tournaments and that sort of thing, that's what's going to help pay for it, actually. So the Patreon's a great way to help this show to grow. And part of what you get in return is some of our merchandise. We have different tiers on the Patreon. So we've got the $5 support tier, which is the tier that will all the money goes straight to supporting the show. And then we've got the koozie tier, $10 tier, where you get we'll send you a koozie, one of the Beers and Lot koozies that we've been putting up on the social medias, holding our beers for Team Can. That's you can have one. And then after that, we've got the pint glass tier. That's the $25 tier, and we'll send you a koozie and a pint glass and stickers. In addition to this, you also get roles in Discord, which, if you're not familiar by now, that's how we record our shows. We jump into Discord and do a little video chat. So if you want to, you can listen in. You can join the channel that we record in and just listen. You obviously won't be able to talk, but you'll be able to listen to us record live, completely uncut, unedited. So,
yeah.
It would be worth it, trust me. But
You have 6 hours to kill.
Oh, it doesn't take that
Please
long.
jump
no,
on.
we're in for like an hour and 15 and get a 45 minute. It's we record at the same time every week. 9:30s on Tuesday nights. You could absolutely be listening in to us right now as we're recording this, in fact. So that is included on the koozie and pint glass tiers on Patreon. So Patreon is a subscription service, and it's like subscribing to our podcast. So subscribing to the koozie tier is $10 a month, but after you sign up, we'll send you the koozie, and then your continued support with that subscription will allow you to keep your Discord roles and listen to us record, and we'll continue to support the podcast. So to the patrons we already have, thank you so much for your support. Hope you're enjoying your koozies and your pint glasses. Stop in some Tuesday night and listen to us record. We'll have a blast, I guarantee it. That's going to do it for this episode. We will catch you next week. So don't forget to follow us on social media at Beers in the Lot. Check us out on beersinalot.com, and you can get the links to Patreon and Discord and everything else we got going on. Thanks again for listening. See you.